Birthdays are a very special time. They only come around once a year. You have to enjoy them every single time they come around. And it's Safraz's birthday today. Happy birthday, Safraz.
Thank
How you
you.
doing? How you feeling?
Feeling great. The big 3-5. Feel like I don't know. I don't know why it feels like a milestone to me, but glad to be healthy, glad to be alive, and glad to be here.
Okay, so what we're going to be talking about today is going to be a little bit different than what we normally do, but Safraz is turning 35. He's been doing real estate for a long time. We're going to get into the exact number. I don't even know the exact number, but he's the one who helped me get started in real estate, and I'm sure he's going to be able to help you get started in real estate or even move to another level in real estate, because this is a man who loves real estate. It's his birthday. He's here and he wants to share. So I'm Bawanka with the Compass team,
And it's Safras with the Compass team.
and let's dive right into it. So Safraz, how long have you been in real estate?
Whew. As an investor, oh man, 16 years.
16 years as an investor. How long have you had your license?
My license will be 9 years.
9 years.
9 years so far.
And when did you first start dreaming of real estate? This man dreams of real estate. He loves real estate. He actually loves real estate.
I think the dream of real estate started, I was 13 years old. So, actually 22 years now. Is that right? That's right, yeah. 22 years ago. Very long time. I was in grade 8. I remember the time where I said, I could see how real estate can change people's trajectory. I wouldn't say like, I went to university and stuff, but I'm not like super smart. I'm not, super savvy into a lot of other things, but I knew like real estate was almost dummy proof, especially as a 12, 13-year-old.
I knew you say dummy proof. Let's dive deeper. What does that mean, dummy proof?
It's if you really break it down, it's very simple, right? Like you don't have to run analytics on what's going on in the last in a different country. You don't need to know exactly what's going on there, as long as you do your homework for that specific property, that area, and the general GTA area. Especially in the last, since I started, let's say 15 years, we've seen it progressively go up again, as long as it was smart decisions made at the time. So it's not like let's say I was looking at the stock market and I was trying to trade. I really need to get into the numbers. What's this company doing? When's their earnings coming out? Once a quarter. I need to be prepared for all of that stuff. Whereas in real estate, as long as, generally speaking, the economy is healthy, interest rates are good, things are going along, it was a lot less mental input on a day-to-day basis, I would say.
And there's something I want to add to that, because it's something you told me before I was even a real estate agent. It's stuck with me for so long. It helped me even become a real estate agent. I was in the, in between jobs, trying to figure out what I was gonna do, and knowing that with what I learned in real estate, I can also apply it as an investor. And what you said was 80 to 90%
Yep.
of millionaires and billionaires created their wealth through real estate.
Absolutely.
And just knowing that it's you don't need to be it's the most average, like average people. So you don't need anything special
Special knowledge,
credentials. And knowing that made it a lot easier for me to say, okay, let me learn as much as I can about real estate and start making the best decisions I can in real estate. So you said for you the journey kind of started when you were grade 8, and I know you have a really good story about your uncle, and you've told it at some of the events. But for some people who haven't been to the events and who haven't heard this story, I think it's very great for you to share.
Sure. So, I didn't realize this first, but around grade 8 time, we were technically homeless. On paper, we were homeless. So I was staying with my uncle. He's my, I'll preface this by saying he's my cabbie uncle. And he likes being called that because at that time, again, long time ago, he was a cabbie. And I saw him, I lived at his house for maybe 3 to 4 months with my mom. And I saw him, he had a fourplex in Toronto that he lived in one unit with his wife and little daughter. And he rented out the other 3 units, sorry. And I saw him, from grade 8, grade 9, grade 10. I saw him take that one place, he sold it 2 years later for a good amount of profit at the time, I would say. And then he upgraded. And then from that upgrade, I saw him, like fast forward, let's say another 8 years, he upgraded from one to one to one. And, he's just a cab driver. He makes probably, especially back then, maybe $30,000 a year. His wife was staying at home. So it's just his income, $30,000 a year. And, he owns 4 to 5 properties. So by seeing that, I was very inspired and said, like, hey, he always tells me, actually, he'd be like, if I could do this, I barely speak English. If I could do this on a cabbie salary, you guys are Canadian, you guys have education, like, you should be able to do substantially more than what I am able to do. And, like I said it recently, like, I just moved into my goal house very recently. And my uncle's been by maybe, like, less than 2 weeks, 3 weeks, like 5 times. And every time he comes, he's like, oh man, I'm so proud of you. Like, this is why we came to Canada, is so you guys can take what we've done and take it to the next level. Every time he comes, he's like, oh man, this is so nice. Like, this is, he like, it's very like emotional where he comes and says, this is why we came and struggled for, 30, 40 years, like minimum wage jobs, cab drivers, so that you guys, our future generation, can do what we're doing right now.
Okay. It's amazing to hear. And right now you're talking about, 35 years old, buying your dream house. But let's take it back. Let's take it back to the beginning. Tell us about the first property you ever bought and where you were at that time.
So I was turning 19, similar time to this. And as a 19-year-old, I was working part-time at Future Shop. The equivalent of Best Buy back then. It doesn't exist anymore. I had a little bit of money saved up. I would say like $10K. And as a kid, I wanted to buy a car. I want to buy Infiniti G35 Coupe. I told my brother, hey, I'm gonna go buy this car. And he's like, oh, you have a little bit of money. Like, why are you gonna go buy this car? Let's go look at some stuff like real estate. Like, who cares about real estate? I was still a little kid. I was like, I still have time. I was 18, turning 19. And he's like, oh, let's go. So he took me to a sales center just down the street from here, Don Mills and Eglinton. There was a sales center. Nothing was there. There's no Eglinton LRT. Actually, the Eglinton LRT doesn't even exist yet. But we went there. There was a few units left. And then, the down payment structure was very doable for me. It was, I think, 12 there was a certain amount. And I had the first down payment by the time it was due. And it was $260,000, 1 plus den, 650 square feet condo with parking for, 15K down or so. I had that payment, but I didn't have the rest of the payments. But I knew 3 years down the line is when I'll get it. So I swear to God, we didn't go twice. I went once. And I'm very like, if I see there's an opportunity, I did already. I was like, sure, let's do it. And I remember the salesperson's like, do you have checks? I'm like, a check? Like, where do you get a check from? Like, I'm still a little kid, right? I was just about to get into university, so I was like, I don't have a checkbook, so I had to go order the checkbook. But the first one I had a draft check, and yeah, it literally started 19 years old, or just before it at Don Mills in Eglinton.
How much did that property cost?
It cost exactly $262,000.
All right, so this is a good time. Properties,
yeah,
you're not really finding condos like that right
days,
now.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so, and at this time, you're not a real estate agent?
No, I'm not a real estate agent. Part-time job at Future Shop, but I think at the same time, I just switched jobs into, I started at Rogers Communications there at technical support, and in that September, I was going to start Ryerson, or TMU now, for finance.
Okay. So now, fast forward to either the next property or getting your license, whichever one came first.
First, no, it was definitely the property. One thing I was write down my goals. So yeah, I wrote down the condo. I already had the 20% down, like basically completed in the 6, 12, 24 month period. And I was like, what's next, right? Like I knew I wanted to buy a house. It was normal at the time, so it wasn't normal, sorry. It was normal because everybody was doing it around me. Like, my uncle was, like, buying properties. My brother already bought his property. My cousins were buying, so I was like, if they can do it, same thing. It's like, why can't I? I was still in university, but still working part-time, but full-time hours at Rogers. Mm-hmm. I bought my house that I just sold.
Okay, hold on. Let's talk. Because people think, I gotta make so much money, that. You're working part-time at Rogers and you're a student.
Yeah.
So, like, what were you making at Rogers?
Rogers, I started at like 16, 17 bucks an hour or so, but I worked a lot.
Okay, by the 16, 17 hours. Okay, so I mean $16, $17 an hour. So it's not like you're not making a crazy amount of money.
I'm not. I was, my friends usually, I was frugal. You know, they'd be like, hey, where do you want to go eat? I'm like, hey, man, I have $5. Whatever fits $5, we'll do it. If not, I'm not coming. I would just leave. Like, they still tell me now. Like, yeah, you're still the guy with $5, you know? I eat McDonald's. I'm not even joking. Me and my buddy, we'd get two chicken sandwiches at McDonald's. It was like $1.79 or something. You call that a day for lunch. Call it a day. Less than $5. I used to spend less than $5 a day.
Okay, so you're stacking up. You're saving your money.
Yeah.
Did you know that you wanted to, because you'd already bought the first one? Did you know? Let me save, and let me get the next one. Is that what you were saving for?
Yeah, that was
or
my
you
plan.
still wanted the G35?
No, at that point, after I bought my condo, I said, I was like, I went to Ryerson. My work was, subway. I could take the bus. It wasn't that bad. So I was like, you know what? I'm just saving till I could buy another place, and then we could talk about the car later. That was my plan.
Okay.
So, yeah, I was working a lot. If I wasn't at school, I was working. I wasn't chilling. I was, just being frugal, saving everything I could. And the summer of when I was 23 is when I found a property. I really liked it because we could live in one unit and rent out the basement. I had a 2-bedroom basement, walking distance to the subway, and I knew having that rental income would definitely help me, like, not increase my expenses so much. I don't need a house. I was 23, technically, I was single. Like, I had no one to, So I was like, let me do that. So that was the summer of when I was 23. Sorry.
Okay, so buy your first property at 19, buy your second property at 23. The first property is a condo. The second property is a duplex. Live upstairs, rent out the basement.
Yeah.
We've done videos on this. That's
Yeah.
called house hacking.
Absolutely, yeah.
We've done videos on this. If you want, go back, look in our videos and find the one on house hacking, and we talk exactly about what this strategy is, how it works. Now you're 23 years old. Tell us what comes next, the real estate license or the third property?
No, the next was, I had this house, just running through the process. I had my condo. Condo was cash flowing at the time. House was,
Hold on. You say condo was cash flowing. Some people don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Explain it a little bit more.
So, because I put so much down, and the rental market was okay, like, it wasn't crazy, but when I got in the rent, compared to my mortgage, property tax, utilities, all of that stuff, I was still positive cash flow. Meaning, at the end of the month, I had extra after I received my rent.
Was it like substantial? Or
No, it was substantial back then, but not really right now. It was, I'd say $500 a month.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if it's a condo, you're just renting it out. You're bringing in $500 a month. That's pretty good, and it's gonna help with your next place.
Exactly. So that $500 a month plus renting the basement, it helped a lot with that house. So I didn't have to overexert myself too much with the mortgage.
Okay. So let's get into 1923. You got 2 properties. Tell us about what's going on. What's the next move?
So the next move, I was trying to figure out what's the next move, right? So I was working a job. I was in sales. I was doing sales, and I always used to go to work, and at home, like Bonka says, I love real estate, and I used to go to open houses every weekend for fun. That's oh, there's a house up the street. Let me go check it out. What's going on in the market? I wasn't an agent, just for fun.
For fun.
Yeah. And I'd be on MLS. I'm not joking. 7 days. It was my favorite page to go to. 7 days a week, I'm on MLSRealtor.ca looking at properties just to see what's going on. I saw a similar property sell a year ago. Back then they didn't have all this data online. You could only know if you had an agent or you go in person. So I would just go in person, figure it out, talk to the agents, learn. It was just about learning. And I was like, hey, I'm already in sales. I love real estate. I'm doing more in real estate time-wise than at my job. Right, I was just sitting there looking at real estate, and then I spoke to my real estate agent at the time. She, I spoke to her. She's like, yeah, 100%. You have the potential ability and the skills. It's hard work for sure. Just dive deep into it. And naturally, I was like, I have a full-time job. It's stable, very stable, making good money in sales. I would just do real estate part-time. That was the plan, real estate part-time. And I got my license, and I was about to register. And someone's like, hey, you could work for us, but it has to be full-time. You have to quit your job. And I was like, I have a mortgage to pay. I can't just, how do I just go quit my job and I have people.
This is when you're getting into real estate.
Yeah, this was I was turning 26.
Okay.
25 to 26.
Okay.
And I was like, it was a big decision. It's like they're like, you have to cut the lifeboat, just dive into it and go 100%, and you'll make more money than at your full-time job.
Okay. So now you're 25, 26. You got 2 properties, and you got your license. What's the next move?
I got my license. Things were going good, but now that I had my license, of course I was helping people getting buying and selling and renting, but now I had way more information, way more. Like I could see stats 7 days a week live as it happens. So it was very like I started looking at MLS even more now because I could actually see numbers, and like I'm a numbers guy. I did finance, but since I was younger, it's always numbers. Like, if you explain something to me, everything starts connecting to that number, and I'm kind of doing that. So I was 26. My next property, found one when the market was hot. The market was on fire. February 2017. So I was 26. February 2016, market was on fire. Everything was selling. Similar to 2022 or 2021, but not as crazy for sure. But, everything was 10 offers, 8 offers, this and that. But I was still finding deals for my client. It was very special deals. Like, you have to really go out there and look. So I found a property. It was not in a great shape, but it was a bungalow with the potential to be a duplex. It was listed for close to 800. Market value was probably like 850. But something happened with their deal that they had, and I literally went to the guy's house with their agent, and I bought the house. I was in the basement, he was upstairs. That's how we negotiated on paper. He was upstairs, I was downstairs. That's how we negotiated. He wanted 800.
Different times.
Yeah, he wanted 800. Now even back then we would do by email, DocuSign, and all that. But I was just like, I'm here.
Yeah.
If I want a deal in the next hour,
yeah.
That property was hot. They had 5 offers. And they accepted the offer, but the offer didn't go through. So I went there at like 11 o'clock. I was like, if I need this deal, like I need to go in person and sign with my pen right now. And yeah, it was like an hour in negotiations back and forth, and then I bought that house.
I hope you guys are taking notes. This is how deals get closed. If you want something, you gotta be there. You gotta be ready to go, and you can make it happen.
Yeah.
But okay, so this is the 3rd property. You're 26 years old now. Let's go. What's the next? What's the next one?
The next. So first, I want to start with that property. That property is like I always call it my diamond. So that property, cash flows. Cash flows a good amount. I had to.
What's a good amount?
The CRA is listening. I'm not sure if I should say it.
It's a good amount, okay?
It's a great amount. Yeah. Hey, listen, I got a couple of properties. Always got to make sure. But cash flow is a good amount. And to be honest, with just that property, like I can fund a lot of my normal life. On average. So things were going good. I already sold the condo back then too. So I did sell the condo.
Oh, you didn't tell us.
Oh,
about
sorry,
selling the
I
condo.
forgot. Yeah.
Why'd you sell it?
I sold it because it was cash flow 500, or so, but I had a good amount of equity in it. The property values went up like 100K from when I bought it. Plus, I put my down payment was a large amount too. So because of that, I was like, I could take that money and flip it into this. That's what I did. So I took it, flipped it into this, so I can have a small mortgage on it. Into the diamond, yeah. And I was cash flowing a great amount. So what? Now I've seen it. Yeah.
Okay, so all the time, a lot of times, especially when we're at our events, we always talk about getting your foot in the door. And this is literally the definition of getting your foot in the door. You had no clue anything about real estate. You got your foot in the door. It led you to the next property at 23, which then you were able to sell it to buy the next property at 26, which is actually your diamond, which is making you the most amount of money. But none of this would have ever happened if you bought that G35.
Yeah, exactly. It's looking back at it now that I have a little more life experience, I'd say I didn't drive until I was like 26 or something. I didn't have a car. No one let me borrow their car even. I took the bus everywhere.
It's because now he has that property that's making a good amount of money.
Yeah.
Now he's using that to pay for the car.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a good thing what happened. Use that money to pay for the car or life expenses, whatever it is.
Okay, so let's go to the next. What's the next one?
The next one. So now I've had I had my current place. I had this property, cash flowing good, and I was like, okay, what's next? life in hindsight, of course, but at the time it was a good decision. So no regrets. It was 2019. Um, Mattamy was releasing townhomes in Scarborough, and there's not that many. There are a lot of condos coming up, but there's not a lot of townhomes coming up. The price was good, down payment structure was good. I was like, you know what, this is a good decision, and I bought it in sometime in 2019. I actually bought two. Me and my wife. I got married in that time, so we bought two townhomes in Scarborough in 2019. It was 28, 29.
Okay. So that's the next move. Pre-construction, Mattamy. Okay, let's keep going. What's the
Keep
next
going. So after that, obviously COVID happened. So a lot of general business changes as a real estate agent, as an investor. A lot of changes, right? Like we saw the market go crazy at one point naturally. And I'll give you a real example. So the townhouse that I bought for, let's call it 620. At one point, someone else I helped buy for 620 as well. They got offered 850 for the same townhome in like a year.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? $230,000 profit in a year or so, which is like, and I had two. So I helped them sell for sure, but I was like, oh, it's, this is kind of where we started making some mistakes. I was like, maybe it'll go up to 900. I'll just hold on to it. So I was like, I declined all the offers I was getting for myself, and I said, you know what, I'll close on it and I'll rent it out. I closed on it in 2023. September 2023 is when I closed on it. So actually 2 years now.
Okay. I like that you say that. It's where some mistakes happen, and of course mistakes happen, and what you do when mistakes happen is you learn from them. So like, I think everything is a learning lesson, and if you haven't made any mistakes, you're really lucky. But most people who make it farther, they do make mistakes, and you have to learn from them. And usually, when you look back at it, it's not the biggest mistake either.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But okay, let's keep moving forward from
all right.
there.
So 2023, I had the two properties. The good thing was, the rental market was strong. So even when I closed on it, I wasn't positive cash flow, but I wasn't negative. It was very close to break even, maybe a couple $100 here or there. So I was like, you know what? Totally fine. Let me keep rolling it. And it's been 2 years, so I've had those two properties now thus far. I'm actually in the process of selling one of them right now. Again, I always say, it's easy to look at it life in heights. I always say it's easy. If the property did go to 900, I'd be a genius.
Yeah.
Everyone would be like, Safras, you made 300K on each. That's 600K. You're the genius. Whatever.
Yeah.
But naturally, as we could see in the last 24 months, 2 years, real estate market has taken a dip. Rentals have taken a dip. So
here's the best question: is it worth more now today than when you bought it?
it's worth the same.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
you're just
It's
sitting in the same place. Your money is just sitting there.
So that's how I know it was still a good decision when I bought it. That's how I can tell you today. It was like, looking at the real estate markets, some places have dropped 30% in the same time frame. We're seeing it for other people doing, pre-con or anything. They've lost a couple of $100K. That's how I know it was still a good decision. I would actually still make that same decision of buying it, because I know, like, even today it's break even. It's the same price I bought it at. That's how I know.
Okay, what's the next one?
So the next one is just recent. Actually, I just closed on it. So I've since I was young, everybody has a vision, I think, of their dream wedding, maybe their dream car, or dream destination of vacation, whatever. I always had a dream house. Typical as everybody, I would like to say, if you look at a picture, that's what it looks like. A detached house with a garage, 4 bedrooms, nice backyard. Parking. My old house didn't have parking, it was street parking, so I was like, one of the things is non-negotiable is parking. I bought that house this spring, 2025 spring, and I just recently closed on it.
That was his birthday present to himself. 35 years, that was his birthday present.
Yeah. It was definitely a challenge, we know the way the market is at, so it was definitely a long-term goal I had. And I was sitting recently, before I even bought it, I was like, what's the alternative? I'd probably have to wait till I was 40 something to get this house, but I found a really good deal on the market, and I said, the equivalent is I probably have to wait 5 years. And I said, you know what, I should be able to manage it, and knock on wood, thank God I have been able to. So I bought my my wife, my family's dream house.
Let's go. And me, I saw the whole entire thing. You don't have to get into the numbers. But one thing I would say is like you were able to get it at like a very good price.
Yep.
600,000 off of what they were initially asking for. And you sold your house that you bought when you were 23 years old.
Yes, that happened this year too. I have had that house for 11 years. That was like I was sad when I sold the house. This is my first house,
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. You're gonna be okay.
Yeah. No, now it's okay. Now that I moved into the new house, I forgot about it. But during the process, I was very it's like emotional. It's like my first house. I was a little kid. I grew up in there. I've seen like my nephews all the time there. My cousins come. My family grew. But it was a good decision to sell too.
So I mean, as the journey goes on, all of the things that are happening is like life is happening.
Absolutely.
And one thing we always say is like real estate is not fast.
Nope.
So this is like since from 19 to 35, this is 16 years we're talking about.
Years, yeah.
Over 16 years of somebody who loves real estate, works in real estate, even before being an agent, spending all this time in real estate.
Yeah.
So again, I always want to come back to the same thing that we always talk about. It's all about that first move, getting your feet in the door. And then even the first move, I feel like it can be the easiest. The second move is even harder than the first move.
Yeah.
Because the majority of people don't make the second move, but the second move is the one that will make you more money.
Exactly. Yeah. So same thing. I would say it's 100%. The first condo was what I had to get my feet in to see what the process is like. What is it like to save up for the down payment? What is it like to get a mortgage, monthly management? Like, I was still a 23. Like when I say kid, 23-year-old to me is a kid. Like in the real world of having to pay a mortgage on time, paying property tax, utility bills, maintenance fee, collecting rent, making sure everything's good for the tenant. Like a lot of that happened when I was 22, 23, but it taught me a lot about the experience.
Yeah.
When the tenant left, like, do I just wait until the last day and then list it? Like, it taught me a lot. But like you said, the second one was, it was second and third, both actually.
No, for sure. But yeah, and again, there is stresses that do come with this. It's not just money. It's not like that. There's definitely stresses that come with it. You didn't talk about the last one, though.
Yeah, I forgot about it.
Bring it.
So again, earlier this year, before I bought my house and sold my house, Blanc and I were talking. We were looking at the fact that a lot of the condos downtown are dropped in value. But we know there's great value in it. Again, long term. It's not hey, let's make a little bit of money in 6 months or 12 months and move on. No, like we understand it's 5-10 years. We always say 5 to 7 years at minimum. It doesn't even matter if you're an investor or not. Like you need to live there for 5 to 7 years. Longer is better. So we talked about it, and a partner and I, not Blanca, we bought a Airbnb downtown in February of this year. We bought an Airbnb downtown at Maple Leaf Square, very close to the CN Tower and Scotiabank Arena. We got it ready, and we just completed 6 months of Airbnb at that property. And again,
give us some numbers. We want the numbers.
The CRA is listening. The CRA is listening, but we always say like that equivalent of a condo, non-Airbnb. So if I just went out and rented it on the market, might get $2,100 at the absolute most, like $2,400-$2,500 a month. Let's put it this way. I've seen a lot of numbers from a lot of people, my whole career and before that. I genuinely I'm blown away when I see these numbers. Simply put, is like how if someone told me this and I wasn't an agent investor, I wouldn't believe it. It's incredible for just the 6 months. I like to annualize things out because, it's easier on the numbers. So, if I said like even on the super high side, you'd be able to rent out this condo for $2,500 a month, easily you're going to, on average, make about $4,500 a month, an extra $2,000 a month.
And we actually have an event coming up where
Yeah.
we'll be diving deep into the numbers. It's going to be November 5th. It's going to be at Shops at Don Mills. Look on some of the other YouTube. You'll see, and there's a link.
Yeah.
But Wednesday, November 5th, 7 p.m. We'll have wine, we'll have cheese, but more importantly, you're going to be understanding exactly what Safras is talking about with these Airbnbs and how you're going to be making numbers that don't even make sense. And this is coming from someone, he's told you all the different moves that he's made, and now he's finding a place that doesn't even make sense to him.
Yeah. So, like, talking about that, it's, with the Airbnb, the duplex that I have over here, like, it funds a lot of the lifestyle. Like, it helps. For sure it helps. Like, it makes life a lot more cushiony. Even if I had a salaried job, it definitely helps so much just knowing every month, all right, the cash flow's coming in, can cover the car, the vacation, the lifestyle, a little bit of everything, right?
Yeah. So what would you say is the biggest thing that you've learned over, you've been alive for 35 years, but in real estate for 16 years. Over these 16 years, even including before with your uncle, what would you say is the biggest thing that you've learned in real estate?
In real estate, it's very simple. Try not to overcomplicate it. It's the thing is, even for me, because again, I was younger. When I was 19, when I was 23, there's a lot of input coming from everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has an opinion.
100%.
My uncle has an opinion. I have brothers, cousins, family, friends, people like, oh, that's a bad decision. Why did you buy this? Why did you buy that? But
don't forget, there's also the internet.
It's
the
so
news,
much, yeah.
The media, ChatGPT.
Yeah.
All of these things are gonna start clouding your mind.
Yeah. So I had a lot of input from everywhere, but I just, I sat with myself and said, this is what I want to do, in 10 years time at this age. This is what I want to do when I'm 30, 35, and 40. And this is the goal to get down that route. And I just sat there and said, how, and then I worked backwards. How do I do it? Then I figured out how much do I have to save? How much do I have to invest? How do I refinance, pull out? It's just coming down to the numbers and kind of washing that negative or positive. Like, people are like, hey, I bought this investment. They're like, oh, why did you buy that investment? There's always going to be another investment, but it's just I narrowed down and I said, example, like when I bought my first house, I said this is the area I'm going to be in, and the only qualification is it needs to be 3 bedrooms upstairs, and it has to have a separate entrance. I don't care what condition the house is in, it just needs a separate entrance. Why? Because I had confidence that I could get it ready and have upstairs super nice. And had I listened to everybody, I would have spent another $200K or something on a more ready house. Mm-hmm. But I saved a lot by buying what I bought, and it paid off now, again, 10 years later.
So the biggest piece of advice is listen to yourself?
Listen to yourself.
Okay.
Know what you're getting yourself into for sure. Listen to yourself. Your vision is only yours. People can definitely have input, and if it's valuable, take a little bit of it. But, if they haven't done it themselves, perhaps, it's really hard to take that information, because if you go on the news today, everything about real estate for the last year has been negative. But I just bought a house and I just bought an Airbnb condo, and I'm probably going to buy, inshallah, another Airbnb condo, so it's, it's very easy to get clouded in judgment.
Okay. So now, what would you say to someone who has no properties? They have some money for a down payment. Maybe they want to put it in stocks. Their friends tell them this. Maybe they want to do crypto, this, that, the other. What would you say to that person?
I would say, if I was Safras at 23, 24 years old, 100% sign me up. 25 to 30K down and buy an Airbnb downtown. I guarantee you that the income and the rental for that 12-month period, you will have your money back in no time, which will allow you to go to the next level. The first one I would say is when I was younger, I focused on appreciation. Property values going up, that's where I made my money. Rental was just my cash flow, rental profit was just bonus. It was just bonus to help. But now I think the strategy has to pivot a little bit. So I think right now focus on cash flow. How can I, let's say invest 25K a month, 25K or 30K, and how can I get that money back as fast as possible through cash flow? And right now, I think the best opportunity, personally, is Airbnb condo. I'm telling anybody who's willing to listen, this is what I'm telling them.
Okay. And what about somebody who already owns a property? They already own a property. They live in the property. They said, like, why would I buy real estate as an investor? Maybe I should just live in it. I'm good. I've seen people who just bought one property and lived in it and maybe upsized over time, and that's my real estate investment experience, and that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
But maybe I watched this whole entire thing, so I am interested in investing in real estate.
Yeah.
So what would you say to that person?
For that person, I would say, like, think about what you could do with another move over the next 10 years. So let's say it's 2025, so we're going to 2035. What would be a smart move? You just holding on to the property, paying down your mortgage over that 10-year period, or maybe you have some equity in that property already, or maybe you can sometimes, like, especially at today's prices, let's say you own a property, you have a little bit of equity with your down payment and what you put down. What if you were able to sell that, right? Just an idea. Sell it, buy a house maybe, and rent out the basement. Do some house hacking. Rent out the basement, and now you have a larger asset that, you know, still should grow at the same rate at least of whatever your current investment is. And you'll have way more space typically, and you can rent out the basement. That will help cover a huge chunk of that new cost that you might anticipate. So I think for me, it's like house hacking, like, absolutely, especially if you already own and you don't want to maybe do an Airbnb or do something else. Like, if I were to start again, if at this age I only had one property, no brainer, that's what I would do, considering today's market prices and values. Because sometimes a property with a separate basement apartment is not highly as valued as something that is just a single family home, depending on the area, right? So you can get to, there's some, like, amazing deals where if you can rent, and when I was renting out my basement back in the day, I was getting like $900 to $1,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can get $2,000 a month for a 2-bedroom decent basement, you know, like a nice basement, good ceiling height. So that'll pay off a huge chunk.
Yeah. So one of the things that we talked about, or that you said to me before we got on camera, was, you know, like, one of the biggest things I learned, and I wish I tapped into it earlier, is joint venture partnerships, working with people.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to touch on that?
Yeah, like for me, you know, growing up, I was the youngest brother. Out of like 8 cousins. I was the youngest, so, you know, everybody would tell me what to do. Naturally, right? Like, do it, and it was fine. But growing up, I said, you know what I'm going to do is the ignorance and maybe the trauma of being the youngest in a big family is, I said, you know what, I'm going to do this by myself. That was my thing. Like, I'm going to do it alone. I don't want to do a partner. Anybody ever said partnership, I said, nah, it's not for me. But I feel like I got this far, you know, I don't want to say by myself, without having like a hard partner in terms of like doing multiple real estate ventures. But, you know, especially with the Airbnb and what I could see in the future, I know now, life in hindsight, that I could have gotten much further if I did more joint venture partnerships. Maybe with one person or two other people, multiple people, to buy more, still smart decisions, but with partners, not only do you know, able to get into more properties, but like in the market of the last 3 years, where the market's taking a dip, it mitigates more of your risk factor.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%. And one thing we say is, alone you go fast,
Yep.
Together we go far.
Yep.
And we actually have a video, joint venture partnerships, helping you understand it and just breaking down kind of what joint venture partnerships are. But one of the things that you said during this was that, you know, you always write down your goals. Do you have a goal that you want to share for by the time you're 40, 45, anything like that? And then we're going to come back to the video.
Yeah, I have a couple of goals for sure. I think, you know, now I have a baby. I have a lot of general effort, things that require a lot of mental effort. So now I'm only like moving forward I'm going to focus on like cash flowing, downsizing, and removing properties that don't cash flow today, and I don't anticipate them cash flowing in the next 5 years. So I want to switch to, you know, if I can get to a good amount of cash flow that can cover my life expenses, right? The 2 properties that I have, they're doing pretty good, But if I can get to, a few, let's say like another 3, 4 cash flowing, a couple of them will be Airbnbs, is my goal for when I get 40. By the time I have 40.
Okay.
Cash flowing $20,000 a month sounds nice. Sounds nice. So.
Okay, well, I mean, today we just dove deep into kind of what life looks like for a real estate agent, for Safras, someone who's been in real estate for almost basically his whole life. But, as he got older, he started getting deeper into it. And there's a lot of really good nuggets in this. I hope you took some of them away. Even I know the stories, and I'm still like finding out more and learning more about it. And like even Safras, bro, you helped me like a lot in real estate. Any move that I ever make, I will always ask Safras before I make the move. And I'm happy with all the moves that I've made since I've known Safras. I feel like they're all 10 out of 10 moves. But again, big happy birthday, bro.
Thanks, brother.
35 years old. And yeah, that's about it for today. I'm Bawanka with the Compass team.
And it's Safras with the Compass team.
Come to our Airbnb event November 5th. You're going to learn about what Safras loves, the Airbnb condos.